Alright, ebusu mo bibia kwaba fambra 2k nisem blossom ojitu so ase ebusu for yaba as usual ensem ahodo a ekoso e wo Ghana ase ne ebeso me ahefo ene atiefo nyina na ebusu no kese e ade se ensem inchemu ahodo bia ba betodwa ne se yese Afenyo Markin yese didibre bia na so o seat bia ti se nkofo call for election yese Afenyo de e wose ise ne se onsem fata se yedi dibre ne ma no na NPP4 ensem because of party man kasa so NDC for so omobuafu a omo communicators ne nkofu mpanyfo bu party nkra say we have to call Afenyo Markin and vet him ono skra so hia the vetting o say say ato ne so aba se de be ya bibia so betimi aka maka na abusu di break ro no ye kwa kwiti no sa video mu se de be ya bibia so betimi aye entiase e de ama message answer na obu ne de kwa so nya subscribe ya na subscribe dem na bibia so etimi aye kama medin e de kwa am gentle
deal with the registrar of the High Court, Williver, failing and deliberately trying as much as possible not to serve the respondents in this matter. That is what has delayed the process. But the process itself was found as far back as 6 January 2025. And for those misconduct of the registrar, we intend to petition the office of the Chief Justice on those conducts. We have already made that known, that aware to the trial High Court judge on those issues. And so we filed a petition against the conduct of the High Court registrar for deliberately delaying service of the process from especially the first and the second respondent.
We'll see how the coming days will look like on this matter, well, because this is in court. We'll see how the court process will proceed from here. But Jennifer Morris, Jay, thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. He is a lawyer for James Kofi Annan, who was the NDC parliamentary candidate for the Futu constituency in the 2024 parliamentary elections. They're challenging the eligibility of Afenyo Markin as MP-elect, but we'll see how things play out in the coming days. This is Ghana Tonight. We're back shortly after this quick break. We'll tell you how the 30 days of process for the review their report to the president. The president has handed it over to the Attorney General for onward investigation, verification, prosecution. We follow it every step of the way here on TV3 and across all media journal platforms. But coming up next here on Ghana Tonight, Minority Leader Afenyo Markin's seat is under fire as two parliamentary candidates. They are challenging the validity of his election as member of parliament for the constituency. But there are a few questions which we're going to be asking of this particular development shortly. But the NDC parliamentary candidate for the Futu constituency, James Kofi Annan, and independent candidate Louise TĽÓÀBØÈ, they've petitioned the Winneba High Court to annul the 2024 parliamentary election results that elected Afenyo Markin and retained him as MP for a Futu constituency. They've cited irregularities and bias on the part of the Electoral Commission. Lawyer for the petitioners, Jennifer Morris, Jay, speaks of some irregularities which allegedly affected the outcome of the election. Take a look.
The first petitioner, what the first petitioner is seeking is that there were some anomalies on the day of election, as well as on the pink sheet itself. Some people were not supposed to have even signed for their polling agents. They ended up signing for his polling agents. And we don't know those people from anywhere. And the Electoral Commission agents or polling officers were the ones who filled the forms and even got people to sign. And we are talking about 96 pink sheets. We have about 150 polling stations in Winneba over here. And if you have 96 of them, what does it tell you? So there are a lot of anomalies. And in the case of Louise TĽÓÀBØÈ, we are also, so the first one, we are seeking to annul all those pink sheets. And then in the case of the second petitioner, which is Louise TĽΟԱBØԵ, we are seeking to, in fact, annul the entire result. The entire election result of the Futu constituency, because we believe that the rules of natural justice has been breached. Clearly, the rules of natural justice has been breached. And if you listen to the tape from Honorable Afenyo Markin, and he says that we are going to deal with them, we will ensure that they are punished for this thing. and then the Electoral Commission herself also goes ahead to ignore her in the process, it means that there was a connivance somewhere in order for him to benefit. And so we are of the view that the election itself was not validly carried out, and he himself was not validly elected.
So that's the lawyer for the petitioners in this case in the Futu constituency. But then again, let's go back to look at the exact results of the Electoral Commission declared. And it was a landslide for Alexander Afenyo Markin, really. You look at and based on the results, 67% of the valid vote cast was in favor of Alexander Afenyo Markin. Some 39,512 of the valid vote cast. In fact, that was an increase and an improvement in his performance in 2020 as against James Kofi Annan, who garnered some 19,383 of the valid vote cast, representing 32.8%. That's a drop, actually, if you juxtapose 2020 to 2024 results. In 2020, it put some 18,802, but in percentage terms, it was quite higher. But you understand that in every election, the number of valid voters, eligible voters in the constituencies would increase. So that tells the exact percentage analysis as we're looking at it. But I've been joined on the telephone by the lawyer you just heard speaking right there. That's the lawyer for the petitioners in this case, challenging the eligibility of Alexander Afenyo Markin as the MP for Afenyo constituency, Jennifer Morris, AJ, the private legal practitioner. Counsel, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight.
Good evening.
Now, when we look at the results of the election, as I just put there, that declared Alexander Afenyo Markin winner of the Afenyo seat, it was a landslide victory. 67%, that's against your client, 32%. Well, how grave are these anomalies you're complaining about to really have influenced this outcome as we saw it?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers as well. Yes, that is true. There seems to be a landslide in terms of the figures, but you would also understand it from our angle when you see the irregularities, such that you have electoral officers as presiding officers going ahead to fill the form and sign on behalf of polling agents when polling agents have said they are not in favor of those results. And so you wonder how those figures came about, because there are certain figures recorded on the pay sheet, which those figures were not signed by our polling agent. And the law is clear. If a polling agent refuses to sign, there is a reason you have to give, and not to go ahead to sign on behalf of the polling agent. That is the first case that we are going to establish in court. Secondly, we are also of the view that, in fact, when you look at the case of T冶ΟҮΑB̶E, she was totally disregarded and excluded from all the processes, such that even as we all heard, in fact, Louisa at a point, even on the day of election, was behind bars with no reason. Now, here is a lady who was not allowed to present polling agents, yet you had people signing on behalf of her as polling agent. When somebody has not presented a polling agent, why should the person have in front of her signed that there was a polling agent representing her?
I see.
Clearly. And these are pay sheets we are talking about in excess of 30 when it comes to that side. And when it comes to the side of the Electoral Commission itself, recording figures on behalf of Honorable Afenyo Markin, that is in excess of 90. And so these figures you are seeing, these are just figures recorded.
You said the Electoral Commission, recorded figures for Alexander Afenyo Markin. What do you mean? That what? The results, the figures did not exist. The EC manufactured those figures and put them on the pink sheet.
Yes, the figures were manufactured because from where we sit, we think that the figures were manufactured because when you have counted results and agents say they are not in support of that result, and some even call for recount, and the EC officers say, no, we are not going to recount at the polling station, and so they also say we are not going to sign, then the Electoral Commission itself goes ahead to record the figures and sign for those polling agents.
And
what does that tell you?
And all of these anomalies are counted to about 20,000 of votes in favor of Afenyo Markin. That's going to be a tall order for you to overturn, at least based on the details of the results as we're seeing. A difference of 20,000 between your client and Alexander Afenyo Markin.
Yes, we have done those calculations, and then if we are to annul those results, the figures you are going to see there are going to change.
I see. That's interesting. But then again, do you know when the Efutu results was gazetted by the Electoral Commission?
Yes, the gazetting of the results took place, I believe, somewhere on the 29th or 30th of December 2024. That's when the gazette, I believe, happened.
Actually, we checked and it was on the 23rd of December.
23rd, okay, all right.
Good. Now, you do know that based on the details of the Section 18 of the PNDC Law 278, which you're a lawyer, so I know you're very much aware of this. Let's look at, and I just want us to look at the Section 18 of the PNDC Law 284 specifically, and what it says, so that if you agree that the result of the Efutu constituency was gazetted on the 23rd of December, the law per PNDC Law 284, Section 18.1, says an election petition shall be presented within 21 days after the publication date in the Gazette of the result of the election to which it relates, except that a petition questioning an election on an allegation of corrupt practice and specifically alleging a payment of money or other award to have been made by the person whose election is questioned. The bottom line is that it's supposed to have been within 21 days after the gazetting of the results. Between 23rd December 2024 and today, we're talking about some 48 days. So why were you waiting all this while when the law specifically gives you 21 days, which has elapsed, by the way?
No, the process was filed on the 6th of January 2025. That was when the process was filed. In fact, the process was filed on the 6th of January 2025, and we filed a motion of for interlocutory injunction restraining Alexander Afenyo Markin from portraying or putting himself out as a member of parliament. And so today was not the day that we filed the process or the petition. Today was actually a day that we were supposed to have even moved our motion for interlocutory injunction. However, this process of interlocutory injunction was supposed to have even been moved on the 10th of January 2025. But we faced a number of administrative challenges which had to do with the registrar of the High Court, Williba, failing and deliberately trying as much as possible not to serve the respondents in this matter. That is what has delayed the process. But the process itself was filed as far back as 6th January 2025. And for those misconduct of the registrar, we intend to petition the office of the Chief Justice on those conducts. We have already made that known, that aware to the High Court judge on those issues. And so we filed a petition against the conduct of the High Court registrar for deliberately